Hello, everyone. Welcome on in. As we're having people join, I just wanted to start by acknowledging that I am broadcasting to you from Gadigal and Bidjigal land and here in the Eora Nation, but also acknowledge that many of you will be joining us from QUT, which is Turrbal and Yugara land. I want to pay my respects to elders past and present and also acknowledge the ongoing relationship between Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people with the land, sea, and sky, and of course, who are our first technologists. Today, the topic is technology. Today's webinar is brought to you thanks to our sponsor, Queensland University of Technology, which you may know as QUT. The university focuses on practical learning with real-world projects and industry experiences provided throughout its degrees, and QUT has recently updated their Bachelor of Information Technology degree, which now offers 7 new majors. So that's news hot off the press. These majors are created in collaboration with industry experts to make sure that the courses reflect industry needs and growing areas like AI, cybersecurity, software development, business analysis, automation, and more. So that is some news off the top. Please do as Karen has done in the chat and let us know where you're joining us from, whose country you are on. We would love to hear from you, and also what you do, whether you're a teacher, a student, a parent, a curious person looking at a tech career. Today is the latest installment in our STEM Plus X webinar series focusing on technology. Of course, it's interwoven into every industry, from music to gaming to medicine to sustainability and beyond. So there are many different pathways you could take, and we've got 3 great speakers joining us today to talk about their career pathways and their experiences in tech. Beyond letting us know who you are and where you are, hello, Jeanette in Mianjin. Also, feel free to use the chat throughout this discussion to ask questions. This will be a 45-minute webinar, so don't wait till the end. If you've got a burning question, put it in the chat because we would love to hear from you. Hello, Emily, as well. And we would love to be able to give the opportunity for our panel to answer your burning questions. So what I'll do now is one by one, I'm going to invite our panelists onto the screen and ask them a few questions to give you an idea of their career journey and which stage of their career they're at and how they love to work in technology. And then we'll open it up to the whole panel to have more of an all-in discussion about some of your burning questions. So first of all, I would like to welcome to the screen Vinesh Nangia, who is a student at QUT School of Computer Science and Faculty of Law. Why both? Well, because he's completing a double degree in computer science and law honours with a strong focus on the intersection between law and emerging technologies. He is the 2025 president and founding executive of the Law, Innovation and Technology Society and led the team behind an award-winning AI legal chatbot ClaimSwift through projects like Decentralized Digital Wallet and international study in the UK. Just a couple of the projects he's been doing, combining technical and legal expertise to explore the future of law, tech, and innovation. So we're very excited to have you here, Vinesh. So tell us a little bit about your journey and how you started off this passion, and have your career aspirations evolved over time?
Yeah, definitely. So when I was going through my schooling years, I basically said yes to everything. I did sport, music. I tried to get involved with every opportunity I could. And one that really stood out to me was robotics. I loved coding, but I also discovered that I loved the engagement, the documentation, and all this humanities side of a very tech field. So when I was deciding on my university degree, I did a lot of research. It was my procrastination from exam study, looking at what are my options. And that's when I discovered QUT's IT and law dual degree. And at the time, basically QUT was the only university in Australia that was offering this dual, and it felt perfect for me. So I went into it, and in my first year, I thought I would just do the 2 degrees very separately. A bit of law study one day, and then a bit of coding the next day. But then I discovered the club, the Law, Innovation, and Technology Society. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, there's other people who are interested in law and tech. This is so cool. And it's through the club and attending industry events that I discovered that law and tech actually collide in so many different ways, in ways like privacy, cybersecurity, intellectual property, risk and compliance, AI governance, a very topical thing nowadays. And I want to be a part of it all. So I've done 2 years working in IT. Now I'm going into some law internships. And throughout my career ahead, I see myself doing all sorts of things in law and tech. Maybe a stint in privacy, do a bit of cybersecurity, then maybe I'll advise the government on their AI policy. So it's a very exciting passion for me. And if I was to give like a big advice for everyone, it's just to find what makes you excited and what's your niche as well. Particularly also with STEM, like our world nowadays, it's so STEM heavy. There are jobs like space journalists and fashion engineers and forensic data scientists who are combining our human side with the STEM. So I've had a very passionate career growth.
I love it. And I love that you're combining all these different ideas for your career. I mean, you use the word niche, but it sounds like you're wanting to get into everything, which is great to hear. The next question I wanted to ask you is I mentioned some of your projects, Claim Swift, and now you're working on a digital wallet. Can you tell us a little bit more about these projects and these types of experiences to get really like applied experience? Uh,
Yeah, absolutely.
yep.
And both of these opportunities simply came because I was putting my hand up and taking opportunities as I could. So the hackathon, we were pitched with the problem to solve a problem that lawyers face nowadays. And in the wallet project, it's actually part of my final year IT capstone project that I've evolved, helped shift to be very much in the crypto space as well. So in the hackathon, I got to consider and come up with a solution with a bunch of like-minded people. And with the IT capstone, I've actually been using my legal skills to write a compliance report about regulation of cryptocurrency. And I never thought I would do that um, with an IT capstone project. So ultimately, like these came about because I was looking for people who shared my interests, and I found people who in my network who also want to work on, law and tech and are interested in it. So it taught me so much. It taught me that, collaboration is so important. I am able to offer my legal advice or legal skills for the technical team, and they can bring their knowledge of cryptography to help develop the application. And I guess my big takeaway I want to give is that just to take every opportunity that you can do, and it's the best way to learn what you're interested in. And if there's no opportunities, you can create them. Like I said, I never thought I would be writing law stuff in an IT capstone. And that's because I've made it what I want to do. So when you're passionate about something, then you can make anything work.
Yeah, I think that's a great message. And like you said, these other opportunities that you've been able to eke out, like Law, Innovation and Technology Society is another example that you gave. I think one thing that stood out to me learning more about you was that you believe the modern professional journey is fluid and evolving. Can you unpack a little bit more what you meant by that, and if you have any advice for current high school students looking towards future careers?
Absolutely. I'm a strong believer that every career that we're currently in is going to be rapidly evolving. AI is the buzzword, but it's more than that, really. When I think about the law and tech space, 5, 10 years ago, the jobs I just mentioned in like privacy, AI governance did not exist. And only in my time since I started the degree has there been a huge market for it. And this is why I've just loved coming into the space and I feel very excited for the future because we don't know what the future is, but because I'm doing something that I'm passionate about, I know that I'll be happy in whatever I do. Um, and something else that I've kind of challenge myself to do is to know when to make a shift and close a chapter. So throughout all my experiences, I've certainly loved my time as the president of the Law, Innovation and Technology Society, but I've known that I need to grow. And in order to grow in today's evolving world, we need to keep challenging ourselves and looking out for new opportunities and ways to, grow. So that's something that's been very hard. I'm still struggling and learning with that, but I always just make my brain make the decisions, then my heart can catch up. But I always walk out from any experience I do with so much pride that I've achieved something.
Thanks so much, Vinesh, and we'll be hearing more from you later in the panel. And I love that message about saying yes to opportunities, but also realizing when you maybe need to move on to different things. Yeah, it's great to see in the chat. Karen and Emily have both shared some links there for those who are interested in Vinesh's double degree or the crime and justice careers. Also, we've got a great mixture of people from Teresa, who's a high school student, to Sarah, who's working in as a career educator at QUT. So it's nice to see. The next person I will introduce you to for our panel is Professor Craig Costello, who's a professor of computer science and quantum cryptography expert. Craig is not only a professor at QUT, but his focus has been outside in industry as well as in academia. His main research focus for the last decade has been on the design, analysis, and deployment of quantum-resistant cryptography, which we'll be excited to learn more about from Craig. He got his PhD actually from QUT in 2013 and returned there this year. He's worked as a principal research scientist at Microsoft Research in USA as well. So welcome to the panel, Craig. It's great to have you and hear about your career path. To get us started, Craig, could you tell us a bit more about Microsoft, where you focused on the quantum resistant cryptography and what that is, and why you're dedicating a career to it?
Yeah, thanks very much, Lee, and thanks for the really kind introduction. I'm very happy to be here talking to you all today. So yeah, I've spent over a decade now working on quantum resistant cryptography. I never anticipated getting into that field. I didn't even know it was a thing. I just love doing mathematics and applied mathematics, a certain type of mathematics called number theory. So that was always my passion, and I kind of when I began my research career working in industrial research at Microsoft, I decided to study a new mathematical object that was out there called lattices. And it was a surprise to me, and it was a surprise to the collaborators that I was working on when we published our first paper that was just studying these lattice objects, that we got a lot of buzz and a lot of press and a lot of attention, which was the first time in my research career that something had generated that kind of buzz, because the thing we were working on was quantum resistant. So then I realized that maybe quantum resistant is something important. Now, what it is the cryptography that we use today and for the last 50 years to secure the internet and to secure our digital lives. All of that cryptography is based on hard mathematical problems. So problems that are really, really difficult for hopefully humans, but also computers to solve, even if they're given a really long time, like 10,000 years, and even if the computers are really, really powerful. So in cryptography, we're really, really interested in trying to find mathematical problems that are very, very hard. And in the 70s, we thought we'd found some problems that were really, really hard. And we've been using those until now. We're still using them now. It just turns out that there's this thing called a quantum computer that people are talking about. Physicists are very excited about them, and quantum computers can unfortunately solve the hard mathematical problems that we thought were unbreakable. And so there's this hypothetical computer that doesn't really exist yet. There's some small toy examples of quantum computers around the place, but these hypothetical quantum computers can break everything we're using. So what I've been working on is trying to find new mathematical problems that are not only hard for our current computers to break, but are hard for um, the quantum computers of the future to break as well. In cryptography, we have to try to anticipate the hackers of the future and what attackers in the future might try to do to break our encryption. So we have to not only protect ourselves today, but hopefully in the future as well.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it's one of those things where you don't need it until you urgently need it, and you don't you want to be prepared for the future. So it's
That's
good to know
right.
that there are people working on that now. What about when you were at school during, high school? Did you always know you wanted to do this? Did you think you'd end up in this type of career?
I no, I definitely didn't. I knew that I was good at maths. I wasn't particularly good at many other subjects, the humanities and the English and the history, all those sorts of subjects I didn't do very well at, but I was very passionate about mathematics. So I knew that I wanted to keep doing maths. I didn't have any idea where it would lead. Actually, the first taste of cryptography that I got was here at QUT when I was in grade 12 on a careers day.
Yeah.
So I saw the sort of mathematics I love, number theory. I saw it in action for 2 hours, and I thought, wow, that's something I could get into. But again, I had no idea where my career was going to end up. I just knew that I loved working with numbers, and so that was what I kind of kept doing. It when I was at school, I would yeah, in English, in other science classes and stuff, I would hide maths books in my English book. I don't recommend doing that, but I would often sneak problems in to just be doing math stuff while I should have been doing the other subjects. So I knew that I was going to spend my life at least trying to do that sort of thing, but I didn't know what it would entail. Um, and so if there's any kind of advice along those lines I could share with students that are in high school and wondering about their career, um, it's very very difficult to predict where your career will go, even if you're very sure about the field that you want to work in. It's really hard, especially nowadays, to as Vinesh was saying, it's hard to know where that field is going to evolve. But my advice would be the one kind of thing I got right was to just always stick with the one thing or multiple things that I'm very very passionate about, and to be very very stubborn when it comes to making sure that that's what you're working on or what you're studying. So if you are lucky, like I was, to have found something in your school years that excites you, I would say to hold on to that and don't let it go no matter what. I was given some different advice from people around the place when I was finishing grade 12. I was told I should go into medicine or I should go into financial mathematics. And both of those things just didn't look as attractive to me as working with numbers and number theory. So I'm glad that I ignored that advice and stuck to what I was passionate about.
Yeah, that's half the battle, isn't it? Knowing what advice is for you and what for you and what advice might be better for someone else.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you so much. And we will have more time to ask you more questions later in the panel. But I wanted to introduce our third and final speaker of the panel, Belinda Zhao, who is a final year computer science student, in fact, graduating this semester. She's got experience in cybersecurity and technology risk at EY, and she's also been recognized as at the Australian Women in Security Awards. Belinda is passionate about using tech to drive innovation, lead with impact, and empower others, which all sounds fantastic to me, which is why, Belinda, I'm so excited to ask you more about that now. You're in your final year, as I mentioned. You've already worked in these different areas with EY. What first sparked your interest in tech, and how did you choose to go down this path?
Yeah, thank you so much, Lee. Um, I guess it all kind of started with curiosity. I've always loved understanding how things work and more importantly, how they can break, really. And when I started learning about tech and cybersecurity, I realized it wasn't just about technical roles, it's also about the people, trust, problem solving, and it's kind of a mix of analytical thinking and the real world impact that kind of drew me in. And for someone that's always kind of was an analytical thinker, this was kind of perfect for me. And I always had the misconception at the start that, cybersecurity or tech. It was all about hacking into people's systems and but there's so much more to that. And I did my initial research and there's so much more to this field, and there were so many career paths, like for example, being a security engineer or a cybersecurity consultant and a security architect and cloud security. There's just so much cybersecurity has to offer. And so over the time, I found myself especially interested in GRC, which stands for Governance, Risk, and Compliance. And I really love GRC because it connects strategy, technology, human behavior. It's basically the why behind security decisions and not just the how.
I love that. It's the why and not just the how. So I've asked the other two panelists about their high school experience. Were you always interested in technology, or is that something that developed later for you?
Yeah, my journey in high school was actually quite sporadic. I wasn't quite interested in STEM, none of the math, none of the tech, because back then I thought studying an IT degree would end up being on a help desk, and if I knew it could lead to areas like software engineering and cybersecurity or I definitely would have explored it sooner. So. Yeah, I definitely wasn't interested in STEM. Initially, I actually tried to avoid it as much as I could. But I wanted to be a physiotherapist actually, and so I did exercise physiology degree at QUT, and I realized it wasn't challenging me the way I hoped. So I started looking into other degrees at QUT, got advice from my cousin who was also studying an IT degree at the time, and I decided to give coding a try and just to see if I liked it. And then that's when it clicked. I realized like technology isn't just about like the building systems, it's about innovating and solving the real world problems. And I'm so glad I made that switch because it led me to where I am today. And honestly, if I told my high school self that I'd be working cybersecurity and risk management, I probably wouldn't have believed you. But every bit of curiosity and every pivot along the way got me here.
Yeah, and maybe your former self would have been like, what is that?
Yeah.
Even so, it's amazing how you can just follow your interests and end up in something you maybe don't even know you're going to get into at the beginning. So, also congratulations on being recognized at the Australian Women in Security Awards. On that topic, can you tell us a little bit more about how others can get involved in making an impact in cybersecurity?
Yeah, for sure. There's honestly so many different ways others can get involved. It was for me, it kind of symbolized the work I did as a student and an early career professional, and it kind of showed me that it does make a difference in this field. And so for a field like cybersecurity, it's all about collaboration. There's a space for everyone, whether you're technical, creative, strategic, your perspective is valuable. And so you don't have to be technical to kind of get involved and win these awards. Get involved early is probably what I would say. Join the student clubs at uni. Women in Tech is one of the clubs that I'm involved in, and I'm a T4 executive there. And then I was also the co-founder of the AI and Machine Learning Club. So getting involved in these clubs shows that, you're showing initiative and you want to put in that time to kind of volunteer your time and contribute to making these clubs better. Attend events. I've attended so many events, cybersecurity events, and they're mostly free as well. So it's all it takes is just a quick Google search, and you'll see the upcoming cyber events that come up, and speakers come and speak, and you can network with industry professionals there. It's really great. And then lastly, I would say find mentors. I had about five in my first year, um, just to kind of navigate through the different career paths that I wanted. Because I actually wasn't sure if I wanted to get into cybersecurity. I was initially interested in software engineering. So having a lot of mentors brings a lot of perspective that you don't see. And I think it's really great to kind of get advice from someone who's been in the industry for a very long time to kind of give their perspective and then take in the different perspectives and kind of make a decision yourself. Um, and I guess don't be afraid to ask questions. Being going into a field where it's technical, it's it's very hard to grasp concepts really quickly. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask all the questions you can. Um, the cybersecurity community is just one of the most supportive one you'll find.
That's really great to hear. Thank you so much, Belinda. So it's your opportunity now to ask questions if you're watching along and you've got a burning question, please don't be afraid to ask our panel as they're here to answer. One question I had actually, building off something that Belinda alluded to about your perceptions about technology versus the reality. Craig, I wanted to ask why you have not showed up today in a hoodie in a dark, dimly lit room, as a bit of a loner who's unable to talk to other people. What's happening? Is the stereotype completely off?
No, it's just that it's really hot. I had to take my hoodie off. No, no,
Okay.
I'm joking. No, no, the stereotype is completely off. Yeah, I think, and I echo what Belinda was talking about with our field of cybersecurity in particular. I think there's or even tech more broadly, there's a misconception that you're sitting alone on a computer with Coke bottle glasses on and just looking at black screens with green font all day. But you can do that if that's what you like to do, but that's not what I like to do. Doesn't sound like it's what Belinda likes to do either. And I think that's the beauty of our field. It's extremely diverse, and it's only becoming more so nowadays. So there is software development and computer programming if you want it, but it's becoming a smaller and smaller slice of a much bigger pie. And so no, my office is really brightly lit. I'm looking over the Brisbane River now. Kind of like this background, but I'm in a very bright office with a lot of colleagues that I've worked with over the years too. It's very collaborative. So it's not a lot of solo work. Whenever you do sort of research, um, there's a lot of time on your own thinking about things, but more and more, if you're looking to have a successful career in cybersecurity and in research in general, I think you've got to collaborate with people. You've got to be good at talking to people and listening as well, sharing ideas. And I think for me, that's the fun stuff. That's the fun part. Is we were talking about mentors a second ago. Most of the people that I look to as inspiration and motivation in my career are my colleagues that have different ideas than me, that think differently than me. They might be quicker at getting concepts than I am in some domains, but slower in others. And that sort of sharing the passion for what we do together is what makes you want to drive even further. So yeah, in our field of cybersecurity, you can wear a hoodie if you like, but I don't do it, and no one that I work with does it either. But
I mean, Brisbane's not really great for hoodie weather anyway.
very, very true. Yeah.
And I mean, Vinesh, you also mentioned collaboration. How important are those non-technical skills for you, as well as communication and creativity?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely critical. Everyone's talking about AI and how there's a lot of misconception and fear around it taking our jobs. It's definitely, from what I've seen, it's not going to take our jobs because innately in every one of our jobs, there's a human element. Just like Craig brought up, like the collaboration that he's needing to do on a daily basis, that cannot be replaced by AI. So all of these human skills, our communication, collaboration, teamwork, all of this is so critical to the future workforce and the future of STEM. It's ironic that the future of a tech field is to go more human and more humanities based. But I truly believe that, if you love writing or if you love these like communications, talking, all that stuff, debating even, there's a real growth for that in STEM.
Yeah, I love that. And one thing that I mean, when we did this careers webinar about maths, there was a question like, what if I'm not numbersy or mathsy enough? We have another question that's, what if you're not techie enough? Can you still have a career in tech? Um, who wants to jump in on that one? Belinda, can you start maybe?
Yeah, for sure. This actually, really speaks to me a lot because I was never, I guess, numbery or techie when I was in high school. And I guess the thing is, there's no kind of set standard you're on your own path and you can't really judge yourself against others who are doing it. I think as long as there's passion involved, you can really do anything. I think I did math B in high school, but that's the extent I would do math. I wasn't really interested in any sciences. I did a lot of health subjects mostly. So yeah, like I said, I try to stay away from all the STEM subjects because I just never really found a field in the future for me. But once I started doing more research and I actually gave it a go, like with coding, I found that, this is actually really great and I really did like it. So there's definitely no kind of fit into the box type of thing. It's definitely more about passion. And if you're passionate, then definitely go for it.
Yeah. Did you have anything to add to that, Craig, as someone who's also a lecturer or researcher?
Yeah, I would definitely double down on what Belinda was saying. She's a great case in point, someone that was trying to avoid STEM in high school at all costs and is now ended up in a very STEMmy tech field of cybersecurity. Yeah, the again those sorts of skills that Vinesh was talking about are becoming only more and more important. The job that I've just come from at Microsoft, I've had a bunch of research managers over the year, and their job is to manage organizations of researchers, which is not an easy thing to do. Researchers can be difficult to work with and funny, eclectic people. But the best manager I had, but she would always state up front, I'm not a technical person. She had a history degree, and her thing was being able to solve problems between people. I think the one thing is that Belinda was talking about is passion. Another one that I would add is problem solving from a very general perspective. I grew up liking to solve mathematical problems, but if you like problem solving in any capacity, there is a career in cybersecurity or in tech for you. So Vanessa's talked about legal problems, but these kind of social and societal problems are really, really important. The field that I'm working in that I spoke about before, quantum safe cryptography, all of the mathematical problems have been solved, and we've worked on that for the last 15 years. Well, a lot of the mathematical problems have been solved. The problem that we're currently facing is getting the community to adopt the technology, and I'm really struggling at that because I don't have those certain persuasive skills that other people are a lot stronger at than I am. And so that's the kind of problem that we'll be looking to solve in the next decade is more of a societal, more of an argumentative problem that a lot of people are much better equipped at solving than I. But it just goes to show that if you're someone that likes solving problems in any capacity, there's definitely a career in my field for you, and more broadly in tech as well. It's becoming a very diverse field with a lot of different skill sets that can go a long way.
Yeah, and I love it too because you were kind of avoiding English and humanities, and they've come back and been a part of your career and how you collaborate. Belinda was avoiding STEM, and then surprise, here it is. So you never know. It comes back to valuing all those different skills. Teresa asked a question about whether this will be recorded. Yes, it is being recorded, and there will be a link as well. The video will be posted afterwards. So keep an eye out for that as well. My next question is for you, Vinesh. I wanted to ask who inspires you in your career, or, there's been a bit of a mention about mentors and role models. Do you have any that you look up to?
Yeah, so I really echo what Craig just said about a non-technical manager. Well, actually, it started as my teacher, my robotics coordinator, who's hopefully listening to this. She is a very non-technical person, but she's so passionate about STEM, and that really just influenced me to, explore more around the STEM field. And then as I grew in and became more and more in the legal tech space, I started engaging with people in the community, particularly on social media like LinkedIn. Once I came into the club and became the president, I started following the leaders on LinkedIn, listening to what people were talking about and engaging in that conversation, particularly with how rapidly things are moving in the law and tech space, and especially with how we're regulating things. it's so important to stay up to date. And what better place than to hear from the experts who have 20 plus years experience on it than me and to, hear what their opinions and their thoughts are. So even though they are not direct mentors, those are people I've been learning from and reading about a lot. Beyond that, I would have to give a huge shout out to my intellectual property professor. She is someone who's actually inspired me to pursue research potentially in the future, um, because there's so much to learn in this space, and there's so much to explore around how are we, like what Craig talked about, the societal impact and how is technology going to affect society and how society responding to that. That's something that falls within this law and tech space as well. So I have to get, yes, I've had very privileged to have such incredible people I could learn from.
How about you, Belinda? Did you have anything to add when it comes to finding people to learn from?
Honestly, my strat was going on LinkedIn as well as Vinish said, but I kind of cold messaged people. I kind of found the kind of profiles that I was interested in and wanted a career in the future in, and I straight up just messaged them. I was like, "Hey, I'm really interested in what you do. I'm a student at QUT studying blah blah blah. I would love to have a coffee with you to kind of catch up and learn more about you." And if I found that 80% of the time they will reply and you will get that coffee chat, but 20% of the time you won't, and that's okay. At least you kind of made that effort. But yeah, LinkedIn is a great space because it kind of tells you all the details about them already and kind of how they got there, what they're doing. And yeah, it's just publicly available. So yeah, going on LinkedIn was definitely a really big help for me.
It's nice to know that the community of experts, industry researchers are also open to talking to people who are really early career as well. That's great. Did you have anything to add to that, Craig?
No, I love what Vinesh and Belinda said. Yeah, I totally agree.
I wanted to ask Craig while I've got you about emerging areas. There's always people asking, what's the next big thing careers wise? Where is the industry going 10 years, 20 years from now? What would you say to that?
Oh, that's a really tough one. It's a really, really tough one. And Vinesh was already pointing to the this quote that's going around now that AI is coming for all our jobs, which is a scary thing when you're finishing high school and you're wondering what career to go in. You might be trying to anticipate which jobs are going to be swallowed up by robots and which jobs will still be you'll still be able to make money from in a few years. But my blanket advice in general goes back to reiterating what I said before, which is well, so firstly, AI is very different than any kind of technology we've seen before in that anytime there's an advancement in AI, it doesn't just affect the field of tech, it seems to affect all of the other fields as well, health, humanities, social sciences, everything's kind of being lifted up when there's an advance in AI. And in that way, it's very, very difficult to tell how careers are going to evolve and what a career in a certain field will look like in 5, 10, 20 years down the track. So I would be hesitant to try to make any bets or predictions, but I think that only reinforces the point that I was saying before about chasing your passions. So rather than trying to guess whether if your passion is medicine and you think you want to do medicine, but you're worried that cancer oncologists of the future will be robots instead of human beings, then I would say, firstly, no one knows, so don't worry about it. And secondly, if medicine's what you're passionate about, it doesn't matter what you're passionate about, but that should be the thing that you try to chase at university and try to spend the next few years doing is studying something that you're really excited about. Careers are they're a marathon and not a sprint, and so one thing I would say is that it's very unlikely that you will, if you think, if you think you want to have a certain career now, it's very unlikely that you'll spend your whole life doing it. So having the ability to adapt and pivot is really, really good. Um, and therefore, yeah, I would say that again, if you have found something that you're passionate and excited about, that's the thing you should be trying to invest the next few years in at university.
Yeah, that's great advice. And as we know, you can always change your mind, whether that's while you're studying or later on in your career. Obviously, Belinda went into one area that was more medicine and health related, and then went into um, now cybersecurity. Vinesh, for you, it was law and technology. Did you start off just thinking those were two separate things that you're passionate about, and then later come to the realization that they could go together? Or what made you kind of care about this intersect between the two?
Yeah, great question, Lee. I definitely came into it very separate. When I was starting to choosing when I wanted what degree I wanted to do, there was a big cultural thing at the time that if you don't do a double degree in law, or if you do a single degree of law, then you'll never get a job. Completely bogus advice. It's just like the stuff that Craig talked about, this is some of the advice you'll get received that is just not might not be applicable. So yeah, that's almost a big factor that I chose tech. But of course, I love it, and it was something that made me want to enjoy university. But as I discovered it through especially the club and learning about the careers in it, I realized how much intersection there really is. It's such a it's in ways that you don't even imagine. And I think that from a tech student perspective, I truly believe that every tech student, just like Craig said, how tech's going to be everywhere, law's also going to be everywhere as well. Law affects every field from medical patents, innovation patents, all these sorts of things that are regulating industries. Now, when we talk about tech, we're in a very formative period of time where how governments are shaping regulation of AI and making how we having ethical use of AI. We've got an opportunity right now to shape that and shape how the future of policy is going to happen. And governments need experts in tech to be able to advise them. This is the way to go. This is the technical side, and this is what we should be doing in the policy. So definitely it's so exciting. And I definitely, coming into it straight out of high school, no idea that I would love it so much. But I'm so grateful that I found my niche. And I'm grateful that at QUT I can actually focus on this intersection.
Thank you so much. So now we're pretty much at the end of our time. That went by really quickly. But before we go, I just wanted to ask each of you, what's next for you, or what are you looking forward to in your tech career? Might start with you, Craig.
Thanks, Lee. Yeah, I am at fun a fun stage of my career in that I've only just started back into the university system, the academic system. I was doing research my whole career, and I hope to be still doing that most of the time. But I'm now in a really exciting position to be able to build my team here of up and coming researchers and cryptographers, cybersecurity minds. And so I'm in a position now where I can start to, teach and work with the next generation of up and comers, and that's really exciting for me. In my previous position, I wasn't able to hold on to students for more than a 3-month internship at a time. And now the prospect of working with PhD students for four years or even longer, and then and using that time to try to really dig deep into more ambitious problems. I'm really, really excited about that, and I'm excited to meet and work with the next generation too. I've kind of spent my career and until this point either working with people that have had a longer career than me already, or that are older than me, or working with colleagues that are from my generation, and not really had the opportunity to play in the more mentorship role, and to try to push other people's careers, to hopefully much uh, bigger heights than my own. So I'm really excited to try to play that sort of a role here at QUT and to work with anyone interested in the sorts of things that I am. That goes for
Great.
anyone on the call too. If there's any interest in in the field of cryptography or information security more generally, applied mathematics too, come and talk to me. Send me an email. I'm always happy to talk.
Love it. Thank you so much. Hopefully someone takes you up on that invitation. How about you, Belinda? What's next?
Definitely staying in the cyber field, especially GRC, looking at the emerging risk areas, and because I've already have such a strong foundation, I think it'll be a waste to kind of throw it all away and just kind of start somewhere new. So definitely GRC and cybersecurity. I'm looking for maybe stepping into a leadership role, and stepping into maybe advisory or strategic security roles. So like cyber risk consultant, technology risk consultant, that type of thing. And um, definitely, I also want to give back to the community in the future. I want to start being a mentor myself, speaking at panels like this, and presenting more about GRC and, women in security or emerging tech risk. And lastly, I think I'll kind of delve into more certificates because cybersecurity is kind of that field where certificates really do help you. So yeah, starting a certificate, it would be my next goal.
Never stop learning. Love that. Ready for graduation and already signing up for more learning. And Vinesh, to round us out, how about you?
Yeah, definitely. I'll be graduating next year. So this next year or so of my life will be more work experience. I'll be doing some internships in law and just trying to grow my knowledge. It's like I've said, like there's so much in this space that I want to do. It's almost it's overwhelming, but it's so exciting. I have so many things I want to explore throughout my career that I just can't wait to get started. One thing I do know for certain is that I will always be challenging myself and trying to change what I'm doing. I've learned to love throwing myself into the deep end and throwing myself outside of my comfort zone. So I'll be keep seeking out new experiences, trying to find what's the next challenge for me. And if you find me that I'm in a role for more than 3, 4 years, then it means just in that one role, I have so much variety and I have so much room for growth. And I'm not ready to close that chapter yet.
Great. Well, thank you so much and all the best. It sounds like exciting tech careers ahead for everyone. Thank you so much to everyone who joined us live online and also those of you who are watching this back. If you want to learn more about technology careers, you can head to careerswithstem.com where you can search for technology or by your X, which is your passion, your industry or interest. You can also find the latest issue of Careers with STEM technology, and you can download a brand new Why Study Technology poster featuring Craig, as you can see. The tech issue plus inaugural AI flip is still being processed. Thanks again to our panelists, Belinda, Vinesh, and also Craig for their time today. It was great to hear your stories. And thanks to our sponsor for this STEM Plus X webinar, QUT. If you'd like to learn more about QUT's new IT degree and also those new majors I mentioned, you can go to qut.edu/y-it. So thanks again, everyone, and we look forward to seeing you next time on our next STEM Plus X Careers webinar. Bye.